We are trying to evaluate this function, the integral from 2 to 4 for this particular function here, x squared minus 2x plus 3. All right, so this looks complicated, right? There's a heap of stuff in the brackets, but we can make this a lot easier by applying it across every term. So let's remove the brackets. And every time that we see that plus or the minus, we can apply the integral to that. Okay, and that's because it is a linear and we can add it together. So we can, first of all, just simplify it by trying to find the integral of just x squared minus by just 2x plus the integral of 3 dx. Okay, and then for each of these, we're going to go from 2 to 4. Okay, so I'll write that out. I hope you don't really need to do this, but it's just the formal way of what you're doing in your head. So x squared, when we integrate that, it goes 2 plus 1, and whatever that value is at the top, we're going to put down the bottom. So that becomes 3, and then minus by 2, and it was originally just to the 1, but that's now to the power of 2, and then plus, now 3x was originally to the power of 0, so we just add 1. Okay, now all of that we can say is the integral from 2 to 4. All right, let's simplify this. Let's make this easier. It's quite complicated, and so that will be x to the power of 3 over 3, and that is a minus. Now, that 2 and the 2 can cancel, so it becomes just x to the power of 2, and then plus a 3x, and that is, again, from 2 to 4. Okay, so to solve this, what we do is it's the top minus the bottom. So we're going to substitute that for everywhere that we see an x, and then minus the whole thing, and then substitute the 2 everywhere that we see that 2. So it's going to get quite long here, so I'll zoom out. And so that will become everywhere, I like to use square brackets by the way, everywhere that we see a 4, we're going to put it in there. 3 minus by that 4, and that 4 there. Okay, let's do that first. But remember, on the other end, there is this 2 to the 3. I really like to put the brackets in there because it helps catch any of these issues with the negative signs, especially if you've got a negative number there. It gets really tricky. Okay, so now it's just like a lot of mental maths and fractions. So 4 times 4 is 16, and times by 4 again is 24 plus 40, which is 64. So that means that it's 64 divided by 3 minus that 16 plus 12. Now I'm just going to keep the brackets around there just so we don't forget about negatives, and that becomes especially important with the next bit. Okay, so this is now 2 times 2, which is 4, times again by 2, which is 8, and so it's 8 divided by 3 minus 4 plus 6. So let's just really simplify this, I guess. So I'm going to get rid of the brackets here, and I'm going to keep the brackets as much as I can on this second one because of this pesky little negative sign here. So I'm just going through and I'm going simplifying everything. until now we've got it as something as simple as we can be. So let's just expand the brackets, and that will be that minus 8 on 3. So we're timesing minus 1 across each of those, and then minus 2. So let's deal with the easy stuff first, which is this minus 4 and this minus 2. Putting it all together, that becomes minus 6. But I know fractions are difficult, right? So what we can do is we can put them next to each other. And then with fractions, if they have the same denominator, right, then you can make them out of the same thing. It's saying like if you have a pizza that's cut up into 3 slices, you can say you've got 64 of those slices minus 8 of those slices. So how much pizza have you got left? That becomes 64 minus 8. And if you really get stuck with fractions, these are the hard exam questions. You've got to get good at fractions, so keep practicing these concepts. Okay, and that will become 64 minus 8, which is 56 divided by 3 minus by 6. And I think that's good enough to leave there. But if you really wanted to go further, you can make them the same because it's 6 divided by 1. And instead of making it divide by 1, we can say it's out of 3. And we do this by a special way by timesing by 1. It's not just any 1, it is 3 divided by 3. And so that then becomes that 56 all divided by 3 minus by 6 times 3, which is 18. And that becomes our, if you can do some quick maths, 38 divided by 3. And that is our final answer. So it's just a lot of math and fractions, really. That's the only thing that makes this question difficult. And remembering in your head to break it up across the terms, across the minus and the plus, and to write this big square bracket around it, and then a minus by the 2. There's no plus c needed because this is a definite integral, and that's because you got that 4 and that 2 there. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them.